I would like to invite our first speaker, Mr. Ketan Sheth. He is Product Manager, Airside Products and Sensors, working with Belimo Automation India Pvt. Limited. Mr. Ketan comes with an engineering background in instrumentation. He has more than 2 decades of professional experience in the field of building management system and control products for HVAC systems with OEMs and system integrators. Today, Mr. Ketan will give us a brief view on why is indoor air quality so essential for our health. So delegates, let's welcome Mr. Ketan. Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. So thank you, and thank you, Mr. Mittal, thank you, Ms. Gupta, thank you, Mr. Kapoor. I think most of the topics which I'm going to, the solution what we have built in on Belimo is already been covered as an essential part of it. And Mr. Kapoor, who is devising that code, I think, you will be seeing most of the things we have tried to cover in this presentation, what we are working as a solution concept, not as a product supplier company. And we have shifted to our new premises of 125 square foot. In Navi Mumbai, we have tried to implement all the COVID guidelines in that. And whatever I'm going to explain in the next few slides, all of those measures has been implemented in our new building. So before we go into that, like most of the things I think has been explained, like why we need it. So I will directly go on the measures on that, because we all know now why we need the health is the wealth, and we need this indoor health. The healthy indoor air is the very important aspect for us. So we reached out as a Belimo, as a global company, we reached out to the certain credible institutes and certain consulting engineers, auditors, and some researchers, like what are the primary important aspects, like in terms of an indoor air quality. And we found out that there are 9 foundations of a healthy building, which you can see on the right hand side. And based on this 9 foundation of a healthy building, we arrived at the 7 major parameters in a building which takes care of your healthy indoor air. So I will go one by one in all these 7 of them. The last one, which I will just try to explain, is that the safety and the security is the thing which Mr. Mittal mentioned, like, COVID has given an importance for the safety and the security of the health, and which has made an important topic on the indoor air quality. So the first, you can say the first important thing is the IAQ measurement, visibility and monitoring, because all we know that most of the HVAC centralized system in India are basically working on a written air concept. So the measurement on the visibility and monitoring is very important from the control aspect point of view. The second is the precise amount of air to the zone and the control removal of the contaminated air. The third parameter is the good air dilution in the airflow pattern, the number of air changes, correct pressurization of the envelope and spaces, which we have also seen and heard in most of the COVID hospitals. Similar is the case. I will explain it why it is also important. Correct temperature and humidity conditioning, which is also an important aspect from the virus restriction, the spread of virus. Proper filtration and proper amount of outside air. We'll move on to the first one, the indoor air quality measurement, visibility and the monitoring. When we talk about the IAQ, most of the very first primary 3 parameter which comes to our mind is the temperature, RH and the CO2. VOC is also playing an important role. But nowadays I have seen, after all this, most of the premises are not putting the carpets. They are going with the normal tiling, normal flooring, so that the VOC thing can be avoided. As Mr. Mittal mentioned about the CO2 is one of the important aspects from the freshness of the air. Lower the CO2 level, more is the productivity efficiency, because the CO2 level increases, there is a lack of concentration, headache and other things which has been seen in most of the cases. So low CO2 level increases the productivity. Relative humidity, there are a lot of studies which has been made. Findings are done that when the humidity is between 40 to 60%, it reduces the risk of virus transmission. So hence the humidity is also playing an important role in spreading of virus, how we can stop that. And the last point which we discussed about Mr. Gopal Krishna is the awareness. So awareness is a very important aspect from the IAQ point of view. So more we make the IAQ level visible to the people, more awareness can be spread on that. So how Belimo can contribute is that we have got a very good range of sensors in terms of measuring temperature, relative humidity, CO2 in the duct as well as the room type. Measurement can be displayed on the displays of the sensors. In case if the sensors are not with the display, you can see on the right hand side, we have got certain apps which are available on the Play Store. With the help of an app and the NFC built on the sensor and the phone, we can easily read inside all the values, and we can see also the healthiness of the sensor if it is deviating from the accuracy. Last but not the least, since we are all talking about the IoT, seamless integration to any automation system, any building management system or the PLC automation system. Also, the values can be easily been directly taken to the cloud platform for the monitoring on doing the analysis and the controls. Second aspect is the precise amount of air to the zone and the control symbol of contaminated air. So the adequate airflow as per the design based on the number of occupancy is a must for that. Now, whether we are exactly sending that much amount of CFM or the number of air changes, that also needs to be measured in terms of doing the better control. Contaminated air must be removed consequently, or maybe it should be diluted. Higher the concentration, longer the contaminated air remains in the room, bigger is the likelihood of an infection. This is we have seen in most of the hospitals, most of the contaminated area, and I have seen a lot of changes in the HVAC design in the last 2 years based on this. So the measures or the solutions that Belimo can contribute is the VAV solution. Mr. Mittal talk about the DCV, demand control ventilation. We have got the VAV offer for that, VAV control mechanism, and again the measurement, accurate measurement of temperature, relative humidity and CO2. We have got a fan optimizer thing which also works in parallel with the DCV for the energy saving point of view, because IAQ is also important, but at the same time energy efficiency, because we are in a tropical environment where the outside humidity is very high. Too much of fresh air is also a little bit hazardous to us. So the energy optimization, a good combination of IAQ is a must for all the buildings. The third essential is the good air dilution and the airflow patterns. Airflow in each room should be carefully designed, because we have seen that most of the time there is a lack of CFM or there is more of a CFM. So that also needs to be properly controlled. And for that we propose supply and return VAV control for the closed rooms. Underfloor air distribution is also one of the good way of doing it, but in India we do most of the overhead like with the duct. Air diffusion efficacy of the diffuser also depends on the accuracy of VAV control. So wherever we have got a diffuser, in India we have most of the diffusers without any motorized controls. Whereas you can see on the right hand side, the first picture, we have got a 1 Newton meter actuator which can have a very better control for a diffuser in terms of controlling a good amount of CFM in that area, which also helps in a better way of demand control ventilation for the VAV, and which results in a very better or maybe a precise room pressure control. The fourth one is the correct pressurization of the envelope or the spaces. Generally, the designs are always that the building is always a little bit on the over pressure compared to the outside, and so that the outside high humidity can be avoided and the mold can be avoided. During the COVID-19 measurement, this has been changed, and based on the application, whether it's an over pressure or under pressure has been designed. One of the example is the hospital rooms where the contaminated peoples are kept. They are always kept in under pressure so that the virus will not spread to the rest of the areas. Measurement and control requires a high pressure measurement and a quick control on that, because as soon as there is a pressure drop, there is a high chances of spread. So the pressure control in both the areas are very important. So again here the solution is the VAV solution for the demand control ventilation with a cascade control. You can see for the supply and exhaust, you can see on the right hand side, with a very good highly accurate sensors which helps in achieving the precise room pressure control. Now one more thing which I mentioned about is the very quick response time from the actuator in order to maintain the required amount of air inside the room so that we achieve that required pressure, whether it's a positive or the negative. For that we have got a very fast acting actuators which acts within 2 seconds or 4 seconds and 7 seconds of time in order to achieve those amount of pressure in that room, and it again go back to its normal condition based on the control signal. Correct temperature and humidity conditioning, as we discussed, like on the right hand side, you can see this is the gist of findings where we see when the humidity is between 40 to 60%, there is less likelihood of virus spreading in that range. So the control should be in that range, or the room should be under that humidity area. Similarly, the temperature between 20 to 22 or 24 degrees Celsius is a highly safe and healthy. It does not promote or does not support the spread of virus transmission. The right combination of a good humidification and low energy consumption must be found out. That should be the design criteria. And a proper maintenance, as Mr. Kapoor was mentioning, the maintenance is also one of the biggest tasks, and that is very, very important from maintaining the hygienic of the humidifier and rest of the air conditioning system, especially the mechanical part of it. How we contribute is, again, we start always with the measurement, like an accurate measurement of temperature, relative humidity, and especially the dew points in the room and duct. Here we will talk about we have got an electronic pressure independent control valve for a precise and stable temperature control. We have got an energy valve, which is the next level of this electronic pressure independent valve, where we have three different types of control. One is we have got an optimal control with the delta T manager, which also helps in energy saving, managing the delta T and maintenance of the heat exchanger, chillers, and especially the H coils. Since these are being the performance devices, hence the data recorded by these devices in different types of ambient condition, the conditions within the building and what control action it has taken can be seamlessly integrated to the PMS. Our energy valve is basically an IoT device, and we provide a Belimo cloud services. So all these data can be directly go to Belimo cloud. Analytics can be performed on that, and the performance dashboards can be provided to the customer in terms of the better performance of the system, and it also provides the control. Now we come to the topic of the filters. The filter plays a very important role, and MERV 13, MERV 8 and other things have become very, very important after this COVID thing came into the picture. And I've also seen some UV things which has also come up, which are installed in the ducts and the HUs, so that the UV thing, wherever there is a written air is coming, it also obstructs the spread of virus. So the filter selection is very important based on the application and specific arrangement. The written air filters are also important from the absorption of the contamination. Now the filter maintenance, it should not be a schedule, it should be based on the usage, based on the contamination, based on the dust which is accumulating on that. Should not be a periodic, and automatic filter logs for the maintenance replacement are very, very essential. Now there are other way of also monitoring the filter clogging is the dynamic filter monitoring by measuring the pressure drop across the filter. So what we provide or we contribute for that is we have got a differential pressure switches, as you can see on the right hand side picture, the first picture, across the filter. And another way of measuring is with the single and dual. There are one port and two port of pressure sensor for the filter monitoring, where we have got more number of filter banks. Now these filter banks or these sensors are also available on the communication, wherever we have got more number of filters and other things to be monitored in terms of raising the alarms. And we can also save in terms of having on communication using the technology, saving on the some IOs from the BMS point of view. The last is the proper amount of outside air. Like Mr. Mittal said, fresh air is not fresh air, it's an outside air. So that also we have tried to capture over here. Written air may be contaminated, so we need to treat it. And specifically in terms of CO2 level, we have to add some of the outside air to dilute the CO2. But when we have gotten higher air pollution quality index of the outside air, so that time it is not recommended to ventilate the outside air. Indoor air quality and the ventilation standard codes have to be strictly followed. It should not be compromised at the cost of energy efficiency. And how we contribute on that is by using the Belimo product and the solution, a better control of the amount, thermal condition, quality of air from generation till distribution till the final delivery, precise control of the zone by means of VAV solutions, and assurance of IOQ by measuring with the help of reliable sensors, achieving good control over the VAV solutions. This is what we do from the Belimo point of view as a global initiative in terms of 7 essentials of healthy indoor air.